Good evening, YouTube. DutyRon is live and back with another video. Tonight we're going to be talking about the NYPD viral video that's playing all over social media of two separate incidents of two NYPD officers attacked over the weekend during the heat wave here in New York City, and perpetrators throwing buckets of water at them. It's viral. It's all over the internet. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the ramifications of it. Hello, Deco Paint and Tea. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you coming in. Hope the stream is solid. I think I got a good connection here right now. I'm pretty sure I do. Hi, Jonna. Hi, Ginger Anderson. Catwoman, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you coming in. How is everybody's evening? I hope all is well. Hey, how are you, Miss Justice? How are you, Patty? Colorado Crime Con, good to see you. Good to see new faces, old faces, and everybody in here. Thank you for joining. I am just going to look for the stream, audio and video. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Jonna. I appreciate that. Again, this is a sensitive topic that I feel it's necessary to go live in regards to, because it is something that affects all of us. It affects all of us, guys. And this is a serious situation that I think needs to be addressed here on YouTube, on my videos. I think it's important that we speak about it. Hi, Jackie Hughes. Hello, Veronica Hart. Shannon in the building. Mary Swampy, thank you for joining. Lynn Jordan, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being in here. I'm just waiting for Joey to come on in. I'm looking for Joey Brooklyn. I got to wait for him before we can get going. Another great thing that happened today is the Victim Compensation Fund, the 9/11 World Trade Center Victims Compensation Fund. That covers police, fire, first responders, and all people who responded down to September 11th. That covers them with their health conditions going into the next century. It covers them for the next, I think, 100 years or 90 years. So it's a long time coming, and it got finally passed in the Congress today. And I was happy to have that bill approved for all the police officers who potentially could be getting sick in the future. It is just a thing that had to get done. I want to thank John Stewart, the actor, for his tireless work, John Field, and all the great 9/11 first responders that fought for this. Hello, New York City Urbanista. Hello, everyone joining, all my new people, all of my regulars, and everybody in between. I'm trying to find this video. Why can't I find it? Give me 2 seconds, guys. Waiting for Joey Brooklyn to step in. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just send him a text message. Hold on a second, guys. So I'm going to have some videos for you guys. If you just be patient with me for a minute, I'm just going to let everyone come on in, step in. Where the heck is Joey Brooklyn? Hold on. Okay. I just sent him a message. Hello, AP. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. No worries. He'll be here shortly. He'll be here shortly. Okay, there we go. I found it. Let me just share it on a public post. We're going to do a quick share. I'm going to do a quick share, and then we're going to get right to business, guys. So we're going to get right to business. If it doesn't match, just leave the broadcast and then come on back in, and then it will match up. No worries. That has to do with something on your end. Hello, Soul for Music. Good to see you. Joey Brooklyn's in the house. Excellent. Security is here. We could get started. So for those of you who are not in the U.S., this is a situation. This is an incident that happened over the weekend with two separate incidents involving New York City police officers, my fellow men and women of the NYPD. Two incidents over the weekend. Guys, this is my coffee mug. This could be purchased in the merch store. This is a DutyRon coffee mug. I don't know if you guys could see it, but I'm drinking water out of it tonight. So Joey Brooklyn's in the house. Thanks for joining, Joe. Again, the bottom line here is that two separate incidents happened over the weekend that officers were attacked by bystanders. One of them, they were effecting a lawful arrest, and a group of kids, a group of young adults, it looked like young adults to me, came up with water buckets. They were playing, I guess, with open fire hydrants or whatever, and they were splashing water onto the police officers as they were effecting a lawful arrest. I'm going to show you the video of that. It's ugly. It's not pretty. I'll tell you that right now. It's not a pretty sight to see, but it did happen. So I'm going to share that video with you guys right now. It's a viral video. Again, the tone of the mayor of the city of New York, the mayor of our city is Mayor de Blasio. Those of you who don't know him, he's a Democratic mayor. He's not tough on crime. He actually is very soft on crime. He has been criticized by all political parties on both sides of the aisle. So Mayor de Blasio has created this circus-like atmosphere due to his inefficient running of the city. He has basically taken the police and their authority out of their hands and has told them, let petty crimes like marijuana smoking, urinating in public, marijuana smoking, and all these quality of life crimes that we in the past would always enforce. Mayor de Blasio feels like that should just, that should be okay. We should let people smoke marijuana in public. We should let people be able to urinate in the subways, sleep in the subways, and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, this is a situation that is not good for all New Yorkers. And for those of you who live in the confines of New York City in the 5 boroughs, those of you who live in the confines of the 5 boroughs, you know what I'm talking about. The quality of life has changed considerably. The police have effectively have their power to enforce here, the power of enforcing the laws of the land as we used to do back during the Bloomberg and Giuliani administration. I even worked under Mayor Dinkins back in the early 90s when Mayor David Dinkins was in there. He had a zero tolerance of crime. So I'm going to just show you guys a couple of quick videos. This is just going to sum up the situation. You guys can see some of the news clips, and we will take it from there. I want you guys to see what I'm talking about. This is 2 separate incidents of NYPD police officers being attacked. One incident happened in Harlem in New York City in Manhattan. They were effecting an arrest over the hood of a police car, and there was a bucket, a red bucket was thrown at them, hit one of the officers in the head, and water was thrown at them. And then a second incident happened in Brownsville in East New York, where 2 officers were breaking up a large group, a disorderly group. They broke up the disorderly group, and then when they were walking away, they were doused with buckets of water. And they didn't do anything because if they felt that if they did arrest someone, that the mayor and the prosecution, the district attorney, wouldn't be behind them and that they would get in trouble. So this is effectively creating a lawlessness environment out there for the public. So watch these videos, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. I'm going to set it up now for you guys. Stand by.
Videos showing NYPD officers being drenched in water over the weekend are sparking outrage, and police say they are now questioning a person of interest. This video was posted on Twitter. It shows officers in Brooklyn being soaked while responding to a call of disorderly conduct Saturday. A similar scene unfolded in Harlem. Officers were doused with water while making an arrest. One was even hit in the head with an empty bucket. The Police Benevolent Association blamed New York City Mayor and 2020 presidential candidate Bill de Blasio's policies for the incidents. De Blasio has condemned the attacks, calling them, quote, completely unacceptable.
And welcome. Tonight, we are on the eve of historic hearings on Capitol Hill.
Okay, that's just one of them. I'm just going to play one more. Hold on a second.
Videos showing New York City police being doused with water are sparking outrage. The footage was taken in Brooklyn over the weekend. Police were responding to a call about a disorderly group. At one point, someone poured a bucket of water on an officer. A similar incident was captured in Harlem. Officers were making an arrest when they were pelted. One was hit on the head with a bucket. NYPD Chief Terrence Monahan called the videos reprehensible and encouraged New Yorkers to treat officers with respect. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio also condemned the incidents. No arrests were made in either cases,
They're
but the
arresting someone on the front of that
NYPD
car right
is
there, putting that guy in
investigating.
handcuffs.
NewYork.com. New information in a water throwing incident aimed at the police. The NYPD released pictures of 3 men they want to question. In addition to water, a police officer was hit with a bucket, and the department is questioning how the officers responded. CBS New York's Valerie Castro joins us from One Police Plaza. Valerie.
And Dick, police say the officer that was hit with the bucket did sustain some minor injuries to his head. Tonight, some city leaders say there are more people at fault than just the suspects in those videos.
They violated them!
Taking the high road or turning their backs on their duty as police officers. Video posted to social media of NYPD officers being doused with buckets of water as they responded to a disturbance call in Brooklyn over the weekend has brought them both praise and criticism. In this incident, officers trying to arrest a man in Harlem are splashed and then hit with a flying bucket.
We have to have zero tolerance for violence against the men and women of the NYPD.
City council members spoke out in support of the officers Tuesday, calling on the suspects, whose pictures were released by police, to be arrested and prosecuted.
The law is there, by the way. This is assault. We're seeing the district attorneys not enforcing it, and they need to enforce the law.
The Police Benevolent Association released a statement calling for stronger laws and says, quote, at a minimum, there should be a felony charge for assaulting a police officer. But top NYPD brass criticized the officers for the way they handled themselves.
And any cop who thinks that that's all right, that they can walk away from something like that, maybe should reconsider whether or not this is the profession for them.
Other blame game contestants include former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who called out Mayor de Blasio on Fox News.
Actually, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a progressive, retrogressive, completely lazy mayor in New York City who is absolutely destroying the quality of life in this city.
City council members echoed that sentiment.
He and his dangerous rhetoric is to blame for some of these antics. Literally antics on the subways and in the streets of New York City.
The mayor tweeted, the truth is crime has never been lower in New York City, and that's because we're bridging the divide between police and communities, a divide Rudy Giuliani helped create. And the Police Benevolent Association has not responded to that criticism of the officers involved. The NYPD issued a memo to officers in the department saying the suspects should have been identified and arrested in both incidents, and at a minimum, a supervisor should have been called in. Reporting live outside police headquarters, Valerie Castro, CBSN, New York.
Valerie, thank you.
Okay, guys. So this is a situation that is just out of control at this point right now. Okay, Rudy Giuliani hit the nail on the
These
head
are the
right
latest
there.
deportees arriving back from the US.
So obviously the hold on a second. Obviously the brass are now embarrassed by this. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that department chief that was yelling or that was talking in that press conference in the Police Academy auditorium, I think that was actually at 1 pp. He's got a lot of nerve saying that, because had those officers taken action against these perpetrators on video, they would have been scrutinized by de Blasio and all the powers that be. Okay, when I was an NYPD police officer in the 90s, if something like that was to happen, I would have body slammed that kid with the bucket, that guy with the bucket, and placed him under arrest. So it goes back to a different regime, guys. When Mayor David Dinkins, Mayor Giuliani, and Mayor Bloomberg were in office, they backed up the police. Okay, so these police officers walked away because they were in fear of their job, losing their job, if they acted against these perpetrators. They knew it wasn't right, but they were just afraid to do anything. So that's what creates a really dangerous climate for these guys. It creates a very dangerous climate. So let me just play one more clip for you guys. This is Rudy Giuliani. Let's just play this. Hold on a second.
Democrats are undergoing intense prep, plotting pointed lines of questioning for former special counsel.
Hold on, I want to get it to the part where he's talking about it. This is just all political nonsense. Let me get it to past this tobacco. This is a whole nother tobacco. Okay, here we go. I just want you to hear what Mayor Giuliani says. Thank you so much for the super chat. Pusa Studios, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming on in. All right, we're going to start it right here.
And they unfairly attack Republicans.
Mr.
That
Mayor,
is just a simple truth. It is a tragedy. It's a tragedy that a prima facie bribery case is not reported that way.
I got to ask you about this NYPD video. I know you saw this NYPD video in Harlem. I want to re-rack it if we can. So, in Harlem, I want so people can watch it.
All right. Oh my God! I saw it earlier.
Oh my God! They came over here to talk to them that they violated. Yo, they violated them. They violated them. No, they violated them. Oh, they not stopped.
Rudy, the police just walked away. Obviously, it's an assault on police officers. It's just water, but it kind of tells you where things are right now. Distrust and disrespect.
I saw the reaction of my third police commissioner, Bernie Carrick.
Listen to what he says.
I assume my other two would react the same way. That would never happen in a million years when I was mayor of New York City. Actually, it wouldn't happen if we didn't have a progressive, retrogressive, completely lazy mayor in New York City who is absolutely destroying the quality of life in this city. He's a disgrace, and actually, even Democrats don't support him and are embarrassed of him. And to let that happen to a New York City, that poor police officer, his morale has been destroyed. The guy's morale and the way you reduce crime.
That's true. Democrats
have police
do not support him.
High morale. That uniform should be respected. I lost almost 100 police officers in the line of duty. I lost a cousin, and I had 4 uncles who were police officers. And when I see that uniform disrespected, it just shouldn't happen in America. That's anti-American. You want to talk about anti-American?
Yeah, we're going to get more of this, I'm afraid, over the next several months.
You are entitled to say that that is anti-American when you attack the military uniform or the police uniform.
All right,
Too many
Mr. Mayor,
people
thank
have
you
died.
so much.
Too many people have died protecting us wearing that.
I could not agree more. It was disgraceful behavior. It should not be tolerated. De Blasio. De Blasio.
All right, here's one last video that shows city council members speaking about this incident. Guys.
we're waiting for Calvin Yeager, but he'll join us. We're gathered here to show support for the officers of the NYPD who, when two disgraceful videos hit on social media, it showed a total disrespect for police officers and for law and for just proper decorum. It was ridiculous.
This is the city council members. These are like, they are right below the mayor.
The problem here, though, is that this is going to spread because of that. The general disrespect for cops is out there. We've seen it, we've heard it, and now there's evidence of it. And actually having water buckets thrown on you as an officer and then have a bucket thrown at the officer's head. That is total disrespect. And I've lived through this in the 80s and early 90s when we saw this before Mayor Giuliani took over, and then we saw the broken windows take charge, and that actually stopped a lot of this. What we're seeing, though, is the district attorneys, the law's there, by the way, this is assault. We're seeing the district attorneys not enforcing it, and they need to enforce the law and especially protect our peace officers and NYPD and correction officers, by the way. So what we're seeing is a bad trend, returning to the bad old days of New York City. And we don't want that. Certainly the officers deserve better.
We're going to stop this for a second right here. What he just said was during the 80s, going into the 90s, there was lawlessness just like this going on the streets. During Mayor Koch's era, the city of New York and NYPD, they lost control of crime. And you could walk down 42nd Street and there would be all prostitutes and drug addicts and people selling dope, heroin, cocaine openly out on the street with the police just going by and not being able to do anything. Once the Safe Street, Safe City program came into effect in 1991, that's when I became a police officer. Safe Streets, Safe City, and then Rudy Giuliani became mayor after Dinkins was mayor, and the broken windows policy came into effect. And that was essentially just zero tolerance for all petty crimes, all different crimes, urinating in public, smoking marijuana in public, dealing drugs were all addressed by street cops like myself. That's when I was on the beat in 1991. So this is a city council member speaking about how it was when Rudy Giuliani and Mayor Dinkins and Mayor Bloomberg were in charge, and how it is now with this clown de Blasio in charge. He is just a jagaloon to the 5th degree. So I'll let you continue to listen. These are city council members, guys. These are the people who answer to the mayor and make suggestions to the mayor about running the city. So when the mayor changes policy, these are the people who vote on it, and he can override their vote. So the city council members, they are basically against the mayor, the current mayor. That's how bad things are. His own people don't like him. So listen to what the 3 or 4 of these guys say about Mayor de Blasio. And Joey Brooklyn, you're a resident of the 5 boroughs, so you should really have a vested interest in listening to this this news conference. It's only about 7 minutes long. So check it out and listen to this. And anybody who lives in the 5 boroughs, listen to this.
Better than that, and to hear actually the people taunt our police officers was even.
He's bad at his mom because he's allowing all of this to happen. Mayor de Blasio is allowing this to happen. I'll explain later.
And I want to bring on Councilman Eric Ulrich, who's a neighbor of mine and a longtime friend, to also speak on this issue.
Thank you.
They look the other way, but that shouldn't be. We have to stop this and stop this now. And I want to bring on Councilman Eric Ulrich, who's a neighbor of mine and a longtime friend, to also speak on this issue.
Thank you, Councilmember Holden. I'm very proud to stand with my colleagues here in City Council who support the men and women of the NYPD and the great job that they have done reducing crime to historic lows in New York City and giving the streets back to New Yorkers who felt like they had nowhere to turn to. Not that long ago, as Councilmember Holden just alluded to. New York's finest does a terrific job. Is every single police officer perfect? No, we know that. There are over 30,000 police officers in the city. But when that video came out yesterday, I think that it showed tremendous restraint and self-respect and dignity on the part of the police officer. I think he made every cop and every police officer in this city proud yesterday. But at the same time, he was humiliated. And there was no reason for that, no good reason whatsoever. We cannot tolerate.
I got to stop this right here. I totally disagree with what this guy just said. That the restraint, obviously, that the officer showed was tremendous, and I give the guy a lot of credit. But what those police officers did not make all the rest of the police officers proud. He is 1,000% wrong. This is the only thing that I can find wrong in what all of these guys said, is this exact statement right here that he just made. There is no way or shape or form that any cop in uniform, any police officer, and New York Dominican, you could vouch for me on this one, is proud of what those guys did. We're not going to bash them, but it makes it tougher for each and every one of us every time that we go out there now and put that uniform on, because people look at this video and say, oh, we could get away with doing this, and they'll just continue to keep trying to do it. Now the NYPD and the mayor's office and all the powers that be, they have egg on their face. So now they're going to go out and they're going to go and try to lock all these guys up that did this, right? To send a message. So to send a message to the public, if you do this, you're going to get arrested. But it's too late. It already happened. You know, you're mopping up the mess already after the fact. So this is how politicians work. They see a big mistake and they go, oops. Oh, maybe we're letting this go a little bit too far. You know, now Mayor de Blasio, as much of an idiot as he is and how shitty he runs the city, now he is now saying, oh my God, we got to do something. So now he's authorized the chiefs and all the bigwigs in the NYPD to now let the detectives and all the cops go out there and make the arrests of these guys who should have been face down on the pavement, hands behind their back, and carted off to jail right at that incident, right at that location. And New York Dominican, I know you can agree with me 1,000% on what I'm saying. These perpetrators should have been arrested immediately. Those cops should have turned around and body slammed them right to the ground and placed them under arrest immediately. Their guns being wet, their equipment being wet, they could effectively have stopped these officers from effectively doing their job by having water doused all over their uniform. So to me, it's a bunch of hogwash. This is all just smoke and mirrors right now. Those police officers were scared to do their job. And when you have a police officer that's shaky on what to do and is not sure what he can and can't do, that's when they get killed. And New York Dominican, I know you're a retired police officer just like me. You can concur with me 1,000%. 1,000%. That's what happens. This is what happens to our police officers. When they are apprehensive about doing the right thing, what they're taught in the police academy of laws and upholding the laws of our city, of our state, and they go out there and they're not sure of what's going on, that's how they get hurt. That's how officers get injured and killed, God forbid. All right, I'm going to play the rest of this now, guys. I just had to put my 2 cents in there. Thank you for listening, guys.
Tolerate for any second any attack or assault or a level of disrespect towards not only a New York City police officer, but also firefighters, also sanitation workers. Our municipal workforce deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. And in my opinion, police officers in particular, are already underpaid, underappreciated, and under attack in this city. So we need to stand shoulder to shoulder with the men and women of the NYPD to show our support, to call out this disgraceful attack on police officers yesterday. That attack was an attack on all the men and women of the NYPD. The people who are responsible for these crimes should be prosecuted, They need to be held accountable, and yes, they need to be charged with a felony. We have to have zero tolerance for violence against the men and women of the NYPD. And I'm calling on the mayor to also not just issue a press release or a statement. He and his dangerous rhetoric is to blame for some of these antics. Literally, antics on the subways and in the streets of New York City. People think it's okay to be disrespectful towards New York City police officers. It's not okay. And we need to hear stronger statements and demonstrated actions coming out of this administration, because we have not seen it thus far. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Councilmember Paul Vallone.
Thank you, Councilmember Holders, and those who are here. You know, you never thought the day would come where we'd have a press conference when a bucket of water is dumped on one of our finest. It's hard enough in their life, which starts with putting on a bulletproof vest to start their day. That's how a first responder starts their day. They go to work, may not be coming home. They say goodbye to their wife and their family. Now they have to come home, see their children and their family and say, Dad, how was your day today? And they had to walk away when a bucket of water, and they were taunted and laughed at and scorned, and they walked away with as much dignity as they could back to their car doing their job. That's the city that we woke up to today. And if that's okay with everyone, then continue to eat your dinner and go to work tomorrow. But if it's not, take a look inside and say something and see something and make a difference and teach your children that is not how we act. There is a code that we live by and a respect that is passed on from generation to generation. And when I saw that, everything that was taught to me and that was taught to my children was shattered, because that's not how I was brought up. And if we're going to live in a society that's going to live and love one another, that starts with everyone around us, of every color, of every nationality, of every ethnic background, and whether they're an officer who's fighting to keep us safe. And over 8 million people in this city, if you think that is how we are going to live our lives, we have to look deep inside and say, that's not okay. And that's what today is about. And we have always stood with the men and women of the NYPD and our first responders and our correction officers. And we need to get better. But getting better is not what happened yesterday. That's taking many, many steps backwards. So as a father of children, as a husband for over 25 years, as an elected official, that was a disturbing video and one that hurts today just speaking about it, and we should all be upset about that. Changes have to happen on so many levels for the decision.
Both these incidents happen in high crime areas. They don't like the police there.
I think this is funny and this is a great idea, and I'm going to be a social media hit with this. There are deep problems when that's the answer. So I thank each of the council members here for today, and I thank you for showing up today. God bless each one of you.
You know, and today it's water thrown on them or buckets thrown at them, and tomorrow it'll be bricks and rocks. And we've seen that already in the 80s and early 90s. But I want to introduce a good man and a good leader, Councilman Mark Jonan.
Thank you, Council Member. I don't think there's anyone that has not been emotionally scarred that has seen that video. That is a complete breakdown of society and lawlessness. And to put things into perspective, anyone that's brazen enough, bold enough to do this to our finest should have no qualm doing it to our mother, our sister, our brother, or our children. For law enforcement to be not only humiliated, but that was assault, direct assault, should be an eye-opener to all New Yorkers.
Okay, I just paused it there. Did you guys hear what he just said? He just said if these lawless individuals are capable of doing this to men and women of the police department in uniform, what do you think they're going to do to your family? What do you think they're going to do to the general public? So when you let something like this guy said it very well, if you let this happen to your men and women in uniform, they are the very ones that are there as a first line of defense to protect each and every one of us. What do you think these people are going to do to the shop owners, to the women that are walking with their kids in the street, to the elderly, to the young, to everybody? They're going to take advantage of people that are in uniform, and they're going to take advantage of people that are just part of the regular public. So this is just a really, really disturbing situation and a very bad trend that is going to, if not taken care of, lead to anarchy here in New York City area. So I'm going to let this guy continue. But for those of you, anybody that agrees with this type of behavior, I would say to you this: you're not my friend, and you're not friends of law and order and people who want to be there to protect you. So if anybody is in this chat that doesn't agree that this is a heinous act committed against our men and women of law enforcement, then you need to go now. You should just leave now, because I have no tolerance, zero tolerance for anybody who feels that this is okay. If you feel this is okay, you are not a friend of mine. I don't want to even know you. I don't even want you anywhere near me. So if you just remotely disagree with that, then just step out now, or just wait to get yourself blocked, because that is just horrific. You're not a kind of person that I want to be associated with.
New York is better than this. Those brave men and women deserve dignity and respect. They are out there as city employees. They are out there as those that protect us in our time of need. We should be standing by their side, because they are under attack, and we need to protect them in all forms. I want to thank my council members who find the strength to speak up at a time when it may not be so favorable. But I know by speaking up, I'll be sleeping peacefully tonight, knowing I did the right thing for every man and woman out there that is part of our law enforcement.
Thank you. That was very good. Thank you. Councilman Kalman Yeager, come on up.
Thank you. I actually, when I saw the videos yesterday, I thought they were a hoax, and I didn't say anything about them for a little while. I really thought that they were plotted, they were staged, some kind of weird thing I was seeing on Twitter, until I was talking to some other leaders in the city who told me that this was real, and I was shocked. Men and women who work in our law enforcement in the city, every single day they put on a uniform, they have a patch, the seal of the city of New York on it. They're not just our employees. They're there to stand between us and danger, and they don't hesitate to do it. And the notion that, we stand here today, and there's a couple of elected officials here. There are a lot of elected officials in this city, not just us. And we've heard them speak out on police. We've heard what they've said about police. There are some in this city, both in elected office and not, who have said vile things about the men and women who protect our city. Vile things. And then yesterday, they're outraged. They're disgusted. Where did they think their words were going to lead us? What did they think would happen? They're so comfortable stoking fear, stoking anger, and not bringing the city together. And then when something happens, they get up and they go, oh, that's just a terrible thing. It's disgusting. And they know who they are. They need to say it out loud, that we stand with our police, and it's not just that they're our police and they protect us and they're there for us. They're members of our workforce. They are employees of the city of New York. They're members in organized labor. They're men and women that labor unions should be standing up for and speaking out for. Why do they stand alone? Where is the voice of the city talking in one voice, one loud voice, saying enough is enough? Cops are under attack in our city. Today with water, and my colleagues.
Hold on, guys. I gotta tell you who this guy is speaking about. Joey, he's speaking about that Viverito girl, the girl that's de Blasio's right-hand woman. I don't know what her first name is, but I know her last name is Viverito, and she's the controller, I believe, and she is the one who was saying that the NYPD are they're all corrupt, and they're all, like, she was making such bad statements, and that's who he's speaking about right now. He just wouldn't say her name because I don't think he can. But he's saying they know who they are. And it was her and her whole echelon that were bad-mouthing the NYPD over the Gardner case and all the different stuff. So it's our own city people who are behind the scenes bad-mouthing the NYPD. And these are city council speakers who are speaking out about it. So I say kudos to these 5 men right here, because they had the kahunas to come out and speak out about these people. So I paused it so you guys can get an idea of who they're speaking about. They're speaking about higher-ups that do not back the police, that do not have support for their own NYPD. And these people that are bad-mouthing the police have their own personal NYPD police guard outside their house of their residence. These are the people that have their own NYPD protective detail. So go figure that one out. They're bashing the NYPD, and now the NYPD is getting disrespected because of their words, and they have their own NYPD detail that protects them. How ironic is that, right?
Said, God forbid a Brit. We've seen that. 1990s, Washington Heights, we saw something that, we've seen it just a couple of years ago. We saw a couple of cops just right after an enormous number of days and weeks of words, and cops get shot in the car, assassinated. Why? Because of the words of people. Now, here in this council, there are members of this body who are very famous for saying words matter. They say it all the time. They told it to me. They talk about words matter, but these words didn't matter. The place where we got today is the responsibility of every single official in this city who doesn't stand up and say enough is enough. And I'm grateful to see that you're here covering this, the members of the media. But we need to cover this more, because what we're talking about in this city,
John
and what we
Williamson,
see all around the city,
killed by a bucket thrown off the roof, a housing police officer. I was working that day when that happened. I responded to that
ways
location.
that I have never seen in my life. I entered government in 1994. 25 years. I have never seen this in my life in this city, the place we are today. It's dangerous, and it needs to stop.
Thank you, Calvin. Every New Yorker should be embarrassed by those videos. Every New Yorker. And again, we're going to have riots in the street. If a police officer responds, we don't know what will happen now. What kind of job is that? It's a very tough job, the toughest job in the city of New York. So again, we need to stand up as elected officials. We'd like to see all the elected officials stand up and put a stop to this. And again, enforce the laws or write new ones that will make this even more serious. Anybody that throws a bucket or anything at a police officer should be arrested, period. Case closed. And we hope these perpetrators will be arrested. Questions? Yes.
Just to play devil's advocate here, if there was a video circulated showing police officers dumping water on civilians and then throwing a bucket at them, would you call for them to be charged with assault?
Of course, yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not a double standard.
I didn't say it was. I said I was playing devil's advocate.
It's a hypothetical. Yeah.
Do you guys hearing this? Are you guys hearing this? The liberal media right there.
Well, I like the
mayor. I wonder what happened if the mayor was hit with a
I gotta play that back.
Standard.
I didn't say it was. I said I was playing devil's advocate.
It's a hypothetical. Yeah.
Today, Chief Monahan said that dumping water on civilians.
police officers
I got to
should
hear
be
this
arrested,
one more time.
period.
As disgusting as it was, I got to hear that one more
These,
time.
Perpetrators will be arrested. Questions? Yes.
Just to play devil's advocate here, if there was a video circulated showing police officers dumping water on civilians and then throwing a bucket at them, would you call for them to be charged with assault?
Of course, yes.
No
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's not a double standard.
I didn't say it was. I said I was playing devil's advocate.
It's a hypothetical. Yeah.
Today, Chief Monahan said that the people responsible for both incidents should be arrested and charged. Last night on New York One, Mayor Bill de Blasio said that one of the incidents, quote, was not confrontational. Wondering what you think about the daylight between.
Well, I like the
mayor. I wonder what happened if the mayor was hit with a bucket of water or a bucket.
That's the mentality here in New York City.
And I wonder what happened to that individual.
They would be arrested. Right.
And then Councilman Yeager, who are you referring to? Who's the they?
They know who they are.
Would you name some?
I'm not going to name them, but they know who they are. That's okay. That's fine. You.
All right, I had to pause it. Did you hear what these guys just said to the reporters? Did you hear the question that was stated to the 5 or 6 reporters that are on scene there? The pool for reporters. These guys, these city council members said, "What do you think would happen if the mayor had a bucket thrown at him or a bucket of water dumped over his head? What do you think would have happened to those perpetrators?" They would have been tackled and arrested, tackled and arrested. So, again, guys, this is the mentality that we're dealing with as police officers. Men and women who risk their lives every day are dealing with this type of nonsense from reporters, this type of nonsense from the elected officials. It's so hard to be a police officer in this day and age. But that reporter was just a total jagaloon. She was trying to flip the script. Like, really? Is a cop really going to be out there? Is a police officer really going to be out there dumping water on the public at random, dumping of water on the public's head? Come on, lady. Are you kidding me? All right, let's just continue.
You don't have to write the names of the people, and I think you know who I'm referring to. You don't have to write the names of the people, but they know who they are, and if this message goes out in the city, the elected officials who have been speaking out loud, very loud, for a very long time.
I hear you, Victorious One.
Look, there's a particular elected official who is accusing a police officer of murder. I went to law school. I didn't see a murder in the city. Some of the stuff that's being said is designed by nature to stoke anger. It's not designed to bring people together. There was a campaign for city council just a few weeks ago in Brooklyn, and there were elected officials who were saying, vote for one candidate because that candidate is not...
Hold on, listen to what this guy's saying. This is what he's talking about. The Marie Veravito running for city council, he's bringing up what she was talking about. She said that police officer Pantaleo murdered Eric Garner. She said it, outright said it, and he's bringing it up here. And what he's saying is, by her saying that, is inciting the public to riot and commit violence against police. You're a public official, and you're telling the public that a police officer murdered a civilian when that was not the case. Anyways, I'm going to play it back and listen to what this guy's saying.
I didn't see a murder in the city. Some of the stuff that's being said is designed by nature to stoke anger. It's not designed to bring people together. There was a campaign for city council just a few weeks ago in Brooklyn, and there were elected officials who were saying, vote for one candidate because that candidate is not supported by the police unions. Those are the bad guys. Vote for the other candidate. There's a place in this city where the language has become so dangerous, so intolerant to law enforcement. Law enforcement is there for us. They're not our enemy.
Question. What would you say to the folks who are watching and they would walk away from listening and say that you're trying to politicize?
No, I believe there's a voice that
needs to be heard.
I just think there's a time for voices to be heard with reason, to say that was not acceptable. And if it was done to anyone, we'd be here today. Justice is justice for all, and that's what we're saying. And to see the law enforcement officers treated in that type of disgust and disrespect is unacceptable, and to be silent would be unacceptable, and that's why we're here today.
By the way, had this happened, had yesterday's incident occurred and the victims were members of the FDNY,
that's Peter Vallone's son,
we would still be here today. No city worker should be treated the way those cops were treated yesterday on the streets in broad daylight in New York City in the year 2019. We've come too far as a city to tolerate that kind of crap going on under our watch. And where is the mayor of the city of New York? He's running for president. He's pushing his divisive rhetoric. He is part and parcel to blame for many incidents where police feel that they are being discriminated against or treated poorly, because if the mayor can do it, the average citizen thinks it's all right to treat a police officer that way. I blame Bill de Blasio. For sure. I think the fact
this guy
that
may be fired soon.
Everybody knows that the mayor doesn't have the backs of the NYPD or of law enforcement. Ask any police officer, off the record, of course. They can't go on the record for fear that they'll lose their job. But the cops know who has their back and who doesn't. What is it? Well, he trivialized what happened yesterday, didn't he? I mean, someone just read me his comment. What was his comment yesterday?
He is a big-time POS.
That the one incident was not confrontational.
I believe that was the one with the water guns.
Okay.
In fairness, he said he got that information from the PD. I don't know.
Right. I'm putting a valid opinion and a point out there that many people in this city feel that the mayor does not have the backs of the men and women of the NYPD, and that because of that, there's a direct correlation there that some people think it's
that is true.
What happened yesterday. By the way, look at social media. Look at the comments to some of the video clips of what happened yesterday. Vile, disgusting attacks, further attacks on the police officer. He deserved it. The names that they called police officers on Twitter, on Facebook, when people were posting that video. It's disgusting. It's shameful.
Councilman, what would you like to hear or see from the mayor?
I would like the mayor to come out and say we have zero tolerance for violence or attacks, not only on police officers, but on all city workers, and that the people who were responsible for yesterday's incident should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That's what I would like to see the mayor of the city of New York stand up and say, but sadly he's not said that.
Amen. Amen.
Any other questions?
Okay, Nicole, thanks for coming in.
Was the PBA supposed to be here today?
They chose not to be here. You'd have to talk to them why they're not here. By the way, what's the difference between the two incidents? Anyway?
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know what the mayor is talking
All
about.
right, so this concludes this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you some of the PBA's response to this. So let me pause this. I'm going to show you quickly the PBA's response to this. Okay, guys, let me go to this. All right, so this is the official New York City PBA website. Any of you guys can go onto this website. You see the member login. That's where you can't get in. Member login gives you access to a lot of extra things. I'm not going to log into my member account and let the general public see that because it's private. But here's some of the tweets that New York City PBA has put out. Pat Lynch is the president of New York City Police Benevolent Association. And this is their official website right here. Says right here, we are approaching the point of no return. Disorder controls the streets, and our elected leaders refuse to allow us to take them back. As police officers, we need to draw a line. In situations like this, we need to take action to protect ourselves and the public. So that was a tweet on the New York City PBA's official Twitter account. Okay. We're all in agreement, Victorious One, that the mayor is no good, but continuous attacks and continuous negative comments is just not going to get us anywhere. We got the point across. I'd appreciate if we could just continue on in a decent fashion. I definitely get your point. I agree with you 1,000%, but we don't need to continually just put comment after comment about him. We're all angry, but let's be the better people here. So I want to just get my point across. He definitely needs to go out with the votes. But the problem is that the people in the 5 boroughs in New York City like this guy. You know, no worries. Don't have to be sorry. I just don't want to continue with the same rhetoric over and over again. I get it. I see your comments. I see what you're saying, and I'm kept agreeing with you. I just would appreciate it if we could just go forward in a decent fashion. I just don't want my broadcast turned into a shit show. That's all I'm saying. They weren't arrested, John, because the police officers were afraid that if they arrested them, that they would get in trouble by the mayor. This is the piece of work that we're speaking about, Mayor de Blasio, who has effectively handcuffed the police from taking action on low-level crimes. He's effectively told them that to let people smoke marijuana in public, let people urinate in public, let people defecate in public, let people sleep on the sidewalk, let people commit low-level crimes and not issue summonses or make arrests for those low-level crimes. And if you do make arrests or summonses for those low-level crimes, you'll be subject to discipline. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. I wish I was kidding. Okay, so let me play this quick clip right here about the NYPD so you guys can hear this.
Hunt. All right, video has surfaced of New York City police officers really put in a really difficult situation. Yeah. They were doused by water, and they even had a bucket thrown at them while they were they were trying to do their job yesterday.
Yeah, some are praising the officers for showing restraint, and local officials are saying the behavior of those who threw the objects is unacceptable. Fox 5's Robert Moses is live now in Harlem with the latest. The PBA president sure had a lot to say as well.
Yes, Jen and Suki, and police are telling us this morning that there have been no arrests in either of the incidents that we're talking about. One of them involving officers who work here at the 28th precinct who, yes, were pelted with water as they were simply trying to do their job. A video surfaced on social media showing police officers getting drenched with water as they made an arrest in Harlem. A shirtless man then pelts one officer with an empty bucket.
Oh, they not stopping!
In another video that appeared yesterday, cops in Brownsville were doused with water as they walked back to their patrol car. It's not clear precisely when the videos were shot, but they appear to have been recorded during the recent heat wave. The president of the police union, Patrick Lynch, is outraged. "We are approaching the point of no return," he said. "Disorder controls the streets, and our elected leaders refuse to allow us to take them back." NYPD Chief of Department Terrence Monahan called the Harlem incident reprehensible and added, "NYC's cops and communities have made remarkable progress together, but every New Yorker must show respect for our cops. They deserve nothing less."
There are two very different incidents, one of which was not confrontational, the other which was.
Last night on New York One, Mayor de Blasio said what happened in Brownsville was not confrontational. The Harlem incident, though, he says, was.
It's not acceptable for anyone to resist arrest.
Just said?
The Harlem incident, though, he says, was.
It's not acceptable for anyone to resist arrest. It's not acceptable for anyone to interfere with the NYPD when they're effectuating an arrest. Throwing things at an NYPD officer is not only not acceptable, it can lead to charges. All of those actions can lead to charges, additional charges. So people have to really understand this is serious stuff. Don't do it.
Although the mayor says the Brownsville incident was not confrontational, police call it shocking and say the persons who committed this act are currently unidentified and an investigation is underway. And it's no secret that the relationship between the mayor and police in this city has been uneasy at best and pretty bad at worst. And in fact, union brass are again blaming the mayor for showing disdain for police and therefore emboldening these perpetrators. And we're live at the 28th precinct in Harlem this morning.
All right, let me show you a couple of more quick clips in regards to this horrific situation here. Okay, here's another one. This is another incident. This is an incident that I'm going to ask any ladies or men, anybody who suffers maybe from PTSD or cannot handle a little bit of graphic conversation. I'm going to ask you guys to probably step out. I'm going to put a disclaimer out there right now. There's some really foul language in this next clip that I'm going to show you, but it's for educational purposes. I want you guys to see over the weekend, in addition to this the two water bucket incidents, there was a third incident that was filmed on a subway in New York City. Two New York City police officers were asking a person who was acting disorderly in the subway to leave the subway, and the defendant proceeded to tell him to suck his private parts. So again, any ladies that might be offended by something like that, I'm going to ask you to please step out of the broadcast. If you don't want to hear it, just put the volume on mute. I'm going to play it because I think you guys need to see this. This is, again, this is for, for all of us. We need to see this. We need to see this as American citizens to see what the state of our affairs are. This is a man who's running for the presidency of the United States. De Blasio is running for president, people, and these are the type of candidates that are running for president of the United States. Okay? This is a guy who wants to be the highest leader of our land. And this is really, really disgraceful. So let me show you this clip. Again, a disclaimer. There's just a little bit of graphic talking in this clip. These are the two officers asking this guy to leave at the next stop.
Suck my dick. It's great. Everybody within now, Congo, just suck my dick. Suck my dick. See this dick right here? They can suck my dick. Freedom of speech. I'm not doing nothing. Suck my dick. Freedom of speech. Suck my dick. Suck my dick. If you say so, put hands on me. My pussy, but put hands on me though. And I'll show you who's alright, if you say so, I know so. Put hands on me. And I have big right to defend myself. Oh, you do? Yeah, so put hands on me. Okay, now roll you up in here. Yeah.
Alright. So this is just another example of blatant disrespect for the NYPD. Okay, just another example of blatant disrespect. You guys can unmute now. You can unmute it now. Again, guys, these are disturbing images, but these are things that I think you need to see because this is what's going on around this is not just affecting New York City. You have these sanctuary cities. You have California, the whole state of California. San Francisco is just like this. San Francisco, the police there, their hands are tied. Their mayor up there just lets people defecate in the street. Ask anybody that lives in San Francisco about what happens when you go downtown, and ask them what they say, what they see. Hello, Max Cobra. Good to see you. Yeah, the guy was in tox, and they were asking him to leave the system. So New York Dominican is a retired transit cop, and he knows the deal. They were asking him to, at the next stop, to leave the system. They're usually, under the old terms, he would have been issued a disorderly conduct summons. But they didn't even issue him a summons. And he felt that it was okay for him to talk just like that to the police officers. Okay, these are the three that are, these are the three perpetrators that, in the two separate incidents, these are the three that the NYPD are looking to arrest. These are the three that were involved in the water incidents on the NYPD cops. So, San Francisco is on its way. San Francisco is even worse than New York City. Was he just drunk? He was drunk, and you cannot be in the New York City subway drunk. He was probably going around to people and causing a disturbance. So, and that's what our transit police are there for. They're great guys, tough cops too. So New York Dominican knows those two cops. So coming from him, I know that they're good guys. So he was just simply being asked to leave the system without a summons, without being arrested, and he felt it necessary to tell them to suck his private parts. Pretty disturbing, guys. And I apologize to any of the women who are offended by that, but I did put the disclaimer out there, and I do think there's a strong need for us to be educated on what the current situation is with our police and public interaction. How would you have handled that situation? I got to tell you, it's a different way of policing than the way I used to. If you're asking me how I would have handled it today, I really don't have an answer for that because I haven't been on the job in a little while. But if you're asking me how I would have handled that back in the time when I was a police officer, I would have at least at the minimum given him a disorderly conduct. I would have disconned him. He's acting disorderly. He's causing public alarm by doing what he was doing, by talking loud and causing people to get disturbed. I would have at least arrested him for disorderly conduct. Minimum. That's what I would have done. But it's a different day and age. I can't Monday morning quarterback it. I can't armchair detective it. I'm not doing that from my comfort of my own home because I don't know what the current climate is out there, but I can tell you it's not good. I agree, Yvette. I agree. So these are the three perpetrators that they're looking to arrest, and I can guarantee you that these guys will be under arrest. If they aren't under arrest overnight, they'll be arrested within the next 24 hours. They will be arrested in the next 24 hours. So, Veronica, good night if you're going to sleep, or Winky, if you're going to sleep, good night. So, that is the situation from an NYPD standpoint, guys. That's the situation here. I don't think I have anything more. I thought I had something. Okay. All right. So yeah, there's one other thing I want to talk to you guys about. Let me go back to here. Okay. I am actually officially still here. Guys, let me just say hello to a few people who I've missed here in the chat. Hello, Trevor. Hello, Winky, Karen, Frank, Cat in a Hat. All of the great ones that have been in here during the course of this. I know Louise Poppy stepped in, but just understand this. When I'm in the middle of presenting this stuff to you, I really don't like to talk over the content that I'm giving you. I want you guys to see what I'm showing you. So once I start talking, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the reason I don't talk while I'm playing those clips, I do see the comments. I do see you guys trying to talk to me, but it would just mess the whole thing up if I started interacting with you while I'm playing these clips. It just would take away from the whole impact of what I'm trying to give you guys, you know, I'm trying to give you guys a setup of what we're talking about. So that's the reason why I don't comment while I'm showing these videos, because it would screw up the whole continuity of how I'm presenting this stuff to you. So I hope you guys understand that, and it looks like most of you guys do. So thank you for that. Joe Schmo, thank you for being in here and moderating. Thank you to all my new friends. If you're new in on this broadcast, please hit the notification bell down here somewhere. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all one word, DutyRon, DutyRon. Thank you, Kathy from Texas. Thank you, Jonna. AP, thank you. Good night. I'm going to talk quickly about the victim compensation fund that was approved. That's a victory for the 9/11 first responders today. Thank you to John Stewart and all of the great first responders that fought valiantly. Luis Alvarez paid the ultimate sacrifice. Pfeiffer and so many other firefighters and first responders have died from 9/11 World Trade Center related cancers. The bill was passed today. It will go to President Trump's desk on Friday, which I know for a fact he's going to sign it. So President Trump is going to sign the bill, which will cover all World Trade Center related illnesses and cancers. We unfortunately are going to lose many more men and women, first responders, iron workers, steel workers, construction workers, welders, all the different trades that were down there. This is not just about firemen and cops. This is about everybody that was affected. School teachers, doctors, workers, just general people who are down in lower Manhattan during 9/11 that are affected by these cancers. This bill will effectively cover their families. And I'm one of them. At any time, God forbid, I could come down with a cancer diagnosis, and now my wife and my kids and my family are covered. So I too breathed a sigh of relief today, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for what John Stewart has done and what Christine Gillibrand has done. I'm not a huge fan of her, you know, her political views and stuff like that, but she stepped up. Chuck Schumer, I don't like him either, but I like what he did for all of the people that responded down to the World Trade Center. Shame on Rand Paul for 2 times knocking down the bill, and he was one of the 2 no's to the bill today. So Rand Paul, you know, you are a piece of garbage as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how that guy sleeps at night, but he and one other senator were instrumental in saying no to the 9/11 bill. He thought it was too much money. So he's a piece of crap as far as I'm concerned. But I want to just say thank you to all who have fought for us, first responders, and everyone who has responded to the 9/11 terrorist attack on our nation. Good night, Jutta. Good night. Thank you so much for being in here, and thank you for sticking in. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick clip. I'm gonna show you a quick clip from John Stewart today down in DC. So I'm gonna show you guys a quick clip from his. I'm just going to show you some, these are just some pictures from Twitter. Let me just set it up. So here they all are. This is a great picture. I wish I could make it bigger. But this is all the first responders. Here's John Stewart right in the middle. Gillibrand, Christine Gillibrand, she's wearing firefighter's turnout coat. I think that's Pfeiffer's. Where's John Field? I don't see him. He's got to be somewhere around here. Oh, right here with the tattoos. First responder. He was right there with Luis Alvarez throughout the whole thing. This guy right here at the end. So they're just celebrating the Senate passing the 9/11 Victim Compensation Fund. There is Pfeiffer, passed away from 9/11 related cancers. This is the House bill, 97 yeas and 2 nays, and one of those 2 nays was Rand Paul. Any of you guys have Rand Paul in your district? I commend you. I challenge you to send him a letter of disgust. I am definitely going to fire off a letter to Rand Paul's representatives, letting them know how disgusted I am with him. Let's see. I think there's a video here. Let's hear what she has to say.
It's a deep sigh of relief. We have lost so many of our heroes, and sadly, more will continue to get sick, and more will die. And today is not about the politicians who are here to serve the public. We work for the people here standing with us and those who couldn't be here today. It's all about them, their families, their selfless service, and that they answered the call of duty when our nation asked. It's about the people standing behind me who have been here for weeks and months and years, over and over and over again, coming back here where they never should have had to do that. So today is not a celebration.
So kudos to her. Kudos to her. Let's see. I want to hear what he has to say.
These people laid the lumber. Mitch McConnell said politics is a contact sport. These people laid the lumber. They tackled the Congress and then the Senate, and I can't be more proud of them. You know, when I was here a couple weeks ago, we passed a bill in the House. I said this was no longer about legislation. We knew we were going to get the bill passed. This is about the bond and the friendship.
Good night, Gary.
Of those on the Hill, those in the media, and those who I walk the halls of Congress with. Passing this legislation, there's no joy. There's no comfort. Yes, I cried with John, but that was to exhale. That was to get 18 years of pain and suffering out, and I believe it's out. But I'm going to ask my team now to put down your swords and pick up your rakes and go home. And hopefully we don't have to come back. What I'm going to miss the most about D.C. is nothing. And no offense to Chuck and Kirsten and Carolyn and Peter, who have, and I'm not being biased, they're better people than they are elected officials, and they're pretty good elected officials. And I mean that sincerely. And, you know, to Mitch McConnell, he kept his word to me. He kept his word to those men that were in the meeting with me. And while I don't always agree with his politics, he was honest, he was sincere, and everything he said, he did. So I thank Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. As for Rand Paul and Mike Lee, told you so.
Rand Paul, Mike Lee, real scumbags. Let's see if this is the same thing.
These people laid the lumber. They tackled the Congress and then the Senate, and I can't be more proud of them.
Yeah.
You know, when I was here a couple weeks ago, we passed a bill in the
I want you guys to hear John Stewart. I think he talks on here. This is Rand Paul right here. This is the guy who said no to this victim compensation fund. He said it was too much money. Take a good look at this guy. Take a look at this guy. Coward. Yes, Terry, definitely. I can't even look at this clown. Senator, he's a Kentucky senator, Rand Paul. Anybody from the state of Kentucky here? Anybody from Kentucky?
Senator Paul Giovanni with New York One. What is your objection to the bill? Sir, what is the objection to the 9/11 bill that you had on the Senate? Are you going to vote in favor of this bill, Senator? Senator Paul, do you agree with the assessment that Senator Gillibrand was making, that you're standing in the way of first responders receiving their benefits? Senator, are you going to do any further blocks or amendments or objections to this bill?
Look, he didn't even have the balls to answer him.
Senator, did you have a chance to meet with any of the first responders who came to Capitol Hill yesterday? Do you have anything to say to the first responders,
He's running away.
Senator Paul, is there anything you can say to the first responders who came yesterday?
Anybody from the state of Kentucky
here? If you watch Fox News, we just did an interview on Fox News, and there's a lot of good information on there. If you'll tell your viewers to tune into Fox News, we have some great stuff on there.
With all due respect, sir, I'm not Fox News, but can you paraphrase really quickly?
Well, if you're a professional outlet, you could call and get an interview like they did.
Sir, we've tried multiple times.
Yeah, I don't know who you are. Who are you with?
I'm with New York One. Sir, what is your objection to the bill?
Here's my suggestion. If you would like to be sort of a professional reporter.
With all due respect, sir, what is your objection to the 9/11 first responder bill?
If you'll call and get an interview, that'd be a great idea.
Well, I understand you have issues with the national debt.
If you watch Fox News.
Is that your objection, sir?
If you watch Fox News, you'll see that we explained exactly what the lies
all of a sudden
were.
you have to
watch
call
Fox
and get
News.
an interview with this guy.
Do you mind clearing that up, sir? What do you mean by the lies? Is there anything else you can tell us, sir? All right. Thank you, Senator.
What a piece of shit.
Hi, Senator Paul.
I can't even watch it. All right. Anyways, so victim compensation fund was approved. I'm happy about that. My first responders, all of my people, myself, my family, we're all covered. I just want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for positively interacting here on my broadcast. All of your friendships, all of your interaction and supporting my channel with positive comments, with Super Chat, with Patreon, with just being here and just being a good person and interacting with me and the content that I bring to you. I'm hoping that you guys enjoy it. I'm hoping you guys appreciate it. I'm giving it to you straightforward from a police standpoint, from a police officer's perspective. I did 20 plus years in the New York City Police Department. I always tell you guys this, but there's some people who come in that don't know who I am or what I'm talking about. So as a New York City police officer, I pounded the beat. I dodged the bullets. My partner was shot and killed in 1996. I had a lot of trauma that happened during the course of my tenure as a police officer. The World Trade Center attack of 93, the World Trade Center attack in 2001, and numerous other incidents that I survived through. I was one of the lucky ones to get through it. One of the lucky ones to get through it. But I'm not out of the woods with cancer, with God forbid cancer. I suffer from acid reflux, a lot of different ailments of breathing from 9/11 World Trade Center related sickness. I'm 55 years old. There's many of us that become sick. 18 years later, there's guys getting sick and diagnosed with cancer on a regular basis. So I just pray every year when I go for my World Trade Center health screening, my cancer screening, I just say a prayer and I hope that I don't hear those horrible words. The tinnitus, that's just one of the many, many ailments that I have. So I just want to say thank you to all of you who support the men and women of blue, the men and women of the first responders, the nurses, the doctors, all of the people in the healthcare field, and the first responders, the police, the firemen, the paramedics, the ambulance people. We do a job that's thankless, and we do a dangerous job. So we're very grateful. When I say to guys and girls in the comments, thank you for thanking me, I mean that. Those aren't just words that I type out just to type them out. When I sit and pound the keys and say thank you for thanking me, I mean that. And I always say love and respect. I say love and respect because I really, really appreciate the positive interaction and the good comments and the backing that I get from all of you great people. And I'm proud to call you guys part of the DutyRon family. And I'll up here at midnight. I got to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go and do my regular 9 to 5 gig that I got going on. So I got to sign off. So guys, much love and respect from me to you, from my house to yours. Remember, this channel is our channel. It's not mine. It's all of ours. So I love and respect each and every one of you. You guys are all a part of the DutyRon family. When you're on here, this is our channel, and we treat it as such. And that's why I like when everyone is respectful to each other. So Erin, good night. Shannon, good night. Joey Brooklyn, love and respect. All my moderators, all my Patreon supporters, all the people that interact here with me, I love you guys. I'll speak to you soon, and I'll talk to you again on my next live. Hug your loved ones, and make sure you spend time with the people who mean most to you, because their number could be rung up at any given moment. So love and respect again. Good night to all.